All right, welcome back. We are here with offensive coordinator and offensive line coach Mike Bloesch ahead of the Week 3 matchup against San Diego State. We'll go to Jeff Brotto for the first question.
Hey, Mike. Coach told us that Vaticani and McDonald are still going to be out this week. They're sort of week to week. I thought I counted on the participation chart that you may not have been able to play more than 6 guys on the O-line last week. Is that correct? And where are you at for this week? And how difficult has the situation been there?
Yeah, it's been difficult. You know, that's 2 guys that were in the starting 5 as we were kind of rolling at the end of fall camp, and not having those guys available has obviously forced us to shuffle a couple things. Along with some other guys being banged up, and that's why we made the move with Sweeney going to center this week. Tried to get Victor Stoffel a little bit more involved in the game, but you know, like I told you guys last week, every week we are trying to evaluate who we have available and make sure that we're putting our best 5 guys on the field in whatever slot that would be.
Is 6 correct as in terms of how many bodies you played?
Yeah, I believe we played 6 guys, and we'll continue to evaluate that and make sure that if there's guys that deserve to be in the rotation or they can help us alleviate some things and with other guys, we'll continue to do that until we get everybody back healthy on board.
And obviously difficult circumstances, but how would you evaluate how that unit played?
I thought we gave up a couple sacks there in the second half. From a targeting standpoint, I thought we were on point with what we were trying to do. They obviously had some really talented players. Obviously still think that we can be a whole lot more efficient in the run game. And then probably the most disappointing thing was some of the pre-snap stuff that we had going on offensively. We had a variety of cadences going into the game. We had silent cadences, we had verbal cadences, and going into those environments of 88,000 people, it's just different than practice, and we've got to be more disciplined and be able to execute in those environments.
I believe Sweeney has some history as a center, but some of his snaps were off target. Is that just something that he'll get better at, or? Yeah,
that's just, him starting at guard really all through fall camp once Sweeney went down, and then making the move over to center this week. That's definitely been that's going to be a point of emphasis this week. And I thought he was much better today in practice.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
We'll go to Matt Moreno from Rivals.
When Isaiah came into the offseason, did you have any anticipation that he would be able to kind of step into a role like he has so far this season for you guys?
Yeah, we knew Isaiah was a talented young man. Like I've mentioned before, when a freshman comes in, some of those guys, it's just understanding what the day-to-day looks like. And he really, as a redshirt guy last year, spent a lot of time on the scout team, but this spring and this summer, was just all into doing whatever it took. I think he does a great job of just showing up every day and kind of wiping the previous day clean, good or bad, and just continuing to try to get better. And I think obviously as he's making plays, now your confidence starts to grow. And so that's what I'm excited to see is, you got a freshman guy out there that confidence is starting to grow, and, he's making plays. People are trying to play him one-on-one, and he's making plays down the field, which was huge for us on Saturday.
And back to Bastian a little bit, how important has his versatility been, and Wyckoff as well, to be able to move and kind of change positions on the fly and really kind of give you guys something up front?
Yeah, that's huge. It's something that I've always tried to do, is develop guys at multiple positions, because I know I've done this long enough to know that it's really hard to get through a 12, 13, 14 game schedule and not have injuries. So that's something that we train a ton in the off season, is guys playing on both sides of the ball, guys playing multiple positions. And then again, that gives me the flexibility week to week to say who are our best 5 guys that we have available and make sure that we get those guys on the field together.
All right, we'll go to Steve Croner from the SF Chronicle.
Mike, how much, if any, does Jaden's absence, or at least limited availability, affect your play calling? And the follow-up is, I think last week you said something to the effect of, hey, look, the other guys are on scholarship too. They've got to carry the torch whether Jaden can play or not. How would you rate how they carried the torch at Auburn?
Yeah, so obviously not having Jaden 100% is tough. I mean, that he's one of our best players on offense. He's a guy that we know can be explosive with the football in his hand, and a guy that we want to get touches to. So we'll continue to evaluate him and do everything we can to help him get healthy, because we know we're better when he is healthy. As far as those other guys, I mean, the guy that stood out to me was obviously Jet. Jet Thomas. He did a phenomenal job of coming in. He was great in protection. Had the big run there for a touchdown there at the end of the game, and just was really solid of kind of taking what he could get. And, some of those guys, they have to understand that not every pitch is going to be a home run, and I thought Jet did a good job of just hitting some singles, putting his head down, going and getting 5-6 yards on a first down, on a second down. That's a really big deal for us to stay on schedule offensively. And I think that's kind of been the point of emphasis, but we need those other guys, Callaway and those guys, to step up as well.
Great. Thank you.
All right, we'll go back to Jeff Rado.
Yeah, staying on Jet for a sec. He had obviously a really scary moment last year at Oregon. How do you think he got past that? And is that difficult to do? And how is he a different player this year, a year later, now in second year in the program?
Yeah, I think being a true freshman and playing like he did last year, when he got banged up, that was obviously scary for him and scary for us as a team, as a program. You never want to see a guy laid out like that on the field. The thing that I think he's just done a great job of is he understood that he needed to get stronger, put on more mass, and he's done that. And now he looks, a lot more physical, more durable in the run game. He's been a lot more efficient in his protections, and I think it's just helped him become an overall better player.
Is the psychological part of coming back from a scary moment like that, how difficult is that for a player to do?
Yeah, I think it's probably pretty difficult early on. But at this point in the season, he's been tackled. He's, had some good blitz pickups. And, at that point, you just get back to reverting to playing football. So I would say we're definitely past that.
Thank you.
We'll go to Jim McGill from Bear Insider.
Mike, you've always had some good running teams, and obviously the team struggled to run the ball the first couple of games. Is that largely a function of health of the offensive line and Jaden, or are there some other dynamics at play that we can't necessarily see?
Yeah, I think it's all of us. I've talked to the offense about that. I mean, for us to do what we want to do offensively and really get this thing going, we have to establish the run game, and that's it involves everybody. I mean, there was a run that probably nobody really remembers in the second or first or second quarter where Jet bounced it and the corner fell off of the receiver. When we had man coverage, we really should have just outside released it, and Jet's probably down the sideline for a 40-yard touchdown. So, it's all 11 guys buying into that. It's me doing a better job of putting our guys in position schematically, and then it's those guys having a mentality, which is what I thought we really grew into last year. Is like we had a mentality that we were going to be able to run the football. The one positive I'd say from week 1 to week 2 in the run game was, our efficiency and short yardage. I think we were 6 of 6 against Auburn on 3rd and 1 or 2. Some of those were passes, some of those were runs, but being able to convert in those short yardage situations was really big for us staying on the field. So, I have complete confidence in what we do. I have complete confidence in our players and their ability to execute. And it's just growing and continuing to get better with the execution part of it. And as we're getting different looks, because we've definitely seen a wide variety of defense in the first couple weeks, and that won't be any different this week.
You've said that you like to take some deep shots down the field to keep the box honest, and hasn't been too many deep shots this year. Is that largely a function of quarterback protection time, or Tobias being out, or different factors?
Yeah, I mean, again, that goes back to everything. It goes back to we got to do a better job in protection. We got to be able to get guys to open down the field. And then, for me, it's also kind of flow of the game. The way that the game was going the other day, we were really, that was kind of part of the game plan for us to play off of the defense. We huddled the majority of the game to make sure that we were able to communicate in and out of the huddle and stay efficient and stay on schedule offensively. So that was kind of, going on the road in that environment, not wanting to get in to those situations where we were putting ourselves behind the chains. But yes, that is something that we definitely need to continue to grow on and back people up a little bit.
Thanks.
We'll go back to Matt Moreno.
You guys were really able to control the clock in that game against Auburn. And I know that comes back to, getting first downs, extending drives, but how much was that the recipe of kind of what you guys want to accomplish the rest of the year?
Yeah, I mean, if our defense keeps playing the way they're playing, I told Peter and I told Justin after the game, shoot, I'm good 21-14 every week. Let's go. I mean, I am not a guy that is going to be concerned with, what our scoring average is, what our rushing averages. I mean, are we winning or losing football games? That's what I care about. And so when our defense is playing like that, I feel, very confident in us to be able to sustain drives. I think that was another huge improvement area from week 1 to week 2 was third downs. I believe we were 10 of 19 or 11 of 19. So we're over 50% on third down, which again is why we were able to control the clock and stay on the field.
And then a couple guys that stood out, Jonathan Brady, Mason Starling at receiver, got some good contributions from them. How much do you need to see more of that, especially with Tobias and Keon maybe potentially being out here more long term?
Yeah. I mean, it's we're by committee right now. And I praised those guys on Sunday in our unit meeting. We had 9 guys that caught the football on Saturday against Auburn. And so we have a variety of guys that can do things. We got to continue to put those guys in position and get them the touches, and play to their strengths, who's our screen guys, who's our quick motion guys, who's our down the field shot guys, and really making sure that we're building stuff around what those guys do best.
All right, we'll do last question from Jeff Rado.
Hey, Mike, we talked to you for 12 minutes. We haven't even asked you about Fernando.
I was waiting on that. I figured you already hit coach with that one.
Well, what did you think of his performance? And he was obviously nearly perfect in the first half statistically. In the second half, it appeared they had quite a bit more pressure on him. You just talk about how he dealt with that and what you guys have to do when that pressure comes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously going into the game, we were planning on playing both quarterbacks. And then you look up through those first couple drives, and I think he had thrown 1 incompletion. So, I mean, he came out really hot. I thought he was really, really efficient. I mean, he was on point with protections and reads and progressions. I think his feet slowed down this week, which is a positive for us to see as a coaching staff. That means his mind is slowing down. So really, really happy with the way he played, the way he led us. And, I'm excited to see him keep continuing to get better.
And would you expect you'll try to play both quarterbacks if the opportunity presents itself, or where is that at this point?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Fernando is gonna be our starter. Chandler's another guy that we know that we can win games with. So I think we're in a position that a lot of people would dream about having. I think about kind of where I've been in the past, where we were at this time last year with kind of the quarterback carousel going on, and I'm just super excited to have both of those guys. They have both stayed locked in, completely positive with each other, and they're both ready to go. So I think that's probably more of kind of a game plan or situational deal moving forward, and kind of seeing how we can utilize those guys because, they're both really good players.